What's up, zoners, and welcome to the earliest waiver wire show on the planet. Today, I'm going to be telling you all the players on your waiver wire I think that you should pick up and how much you should spend on them heading into week 10. This is an early waiver wire show coming out, man. I'm shooting this at the halftime of the afternoon games. I will be adding players later on. Look in the comments. The first player we're going to be looking at right now is a running back that was forgotten about, man. Tyrone Tracy was supposed to be the next big deal for the Giants, and Devin Singletary came in and he said, no. He is 4.5% rostered. I spent 25% of my fab on him. 8 rushes that led all running backs for the Giants. Jackson Dart did have more. For 43 yards, that also led running backs. He had 2 receptions for 8 yards versus the 49ers, a 61.5% running back rushing share. He looked like the better running back against the 49ers. Scatterboot is out with a missing foot, man. 9+ fantasy points in only 2 games last year with Tyrone Tracy starting. So I'm not sure how this is going to go down. A lot more scoring opportunities with Jackson Dart as the quarterback compared to last year. I had Tyrone Tracy last year. I started him against Pittsburgh when he had like 100-something yards. He was like running back 5 on the week, but then he kind of fell off a cliff and Devin Singletary was still there. So I think they're going to be holding each other both down. They just lowered each other's ceilings, but one of these guys are going to be start worthy. Pick up Devin Singletary and see what happens next week. They're playing Chicago next week. They're good at the 10th most fantasy points to running backs, dude. So this matters. All right, next up, Terrell Jennings. I'm a Travion Henderson owner, dude. What is going on here? 5.2% rostered, 10% of my fab I'd spend on him because Ramondre still might come back. 11 rushes for 35 yards, 1 reception for 9 yards. He had a 44% running back rushing share. I thought he might have like 20%. I thought Travion Henderson was going to get the keys to this automobile, and he did not, dude. 44% running back rushing share. I think I just said that. I apologize. Ramondre out with toe injury, so who knows how long that might take to come back from, but he is not on IR just yet. 7 rushing attempts in the 2 games heading into the Sunday. So really nothing before this game, and now we got almost half of the shares, man. Henderson is effing cursed, dude. And Terrell Jennings is an undrafted free agent from last season, so Mike Vrabel's not even connected to this dude. He was just on the team. At Tampa Bay, week 10, they're giving it the 12th most fantasy points to running back. So, hey, Terrell Jennings might get a rushing touchdown. Next week, Travion Henderson can't do shit. Next up, Brian Robinson Jr., man. Mostly a backup, but he had a good game to prove why he is a good backup. He's been super inefficient for like a while now, and people started dropping him. 21.9% rostered. I spent 5% of my fab on him. 5 rushes for 53 yards, so super efficient. It's like 10 yards a carry. And a touchdown versus the Giants, man. Only a 15.2% running back rushing share. He is the handcuff there, right? And I say that, I'm still waiting for Christian McCaffrey to get injured, man. 33 touches, 28 rushing attempts again today. They are just going until the wheels fall off. They should fall off sometime soon versus the Rams week 10. And the Rams are very tough against running backs. Second fewest in the NFL points allowed. All right, man, on to the wide receivers. And this guy excites me. I told you to trade for him. I told you to, man. Dude, their helmets, people are going to be talking shit about Green Bay's helmets this last week. I thought that was pretty cool. Looked like leather, but, painted onto that regular helmet. So 25% rostered. So he's available in 3/4 of leagues. I'd spend 25% of my fab on him. All right. I've been trying to get him for a while. 2 receptions on 4 targets. He had 4 targets last week. That was the second most of Green Bay wide receivers for 58 yards versus Carolina. Carolina is super tough against opposing wide receivers. Only 11% target share. That sucks. But he did lead the Green Bay wide receivers in yardage last week with 85 in a season debut. And this is the big one, man. Matthew Golden left with a shoulder injury. And then Tucker Kraft, that explosive play, like contested catch downfield player, looks like he might have tore his ACL, dude, and is out for the season. The coach already said it looks bad. So maybe Kraft is out for the year. This is the downfield threat here from here on out for Jordan Love. He was a 2nd-round draft pick in 2022. So this is his 3rd season, and he has a lot high draft capital with Matt LaFleur. Versus Philadelphia, week 10, the 16th most fantasy points to wide receiver. They really hold down slot wide receivers. So look for Christian Watson to have a decent week. Next week, flex option moving forward, man. Next up, Darius Slayton, man. Only 15% rostered. I'd spend 15% of my fab on him. I own him like in 2 leagues right now. I think I started him in our Dynasty League. 5 receptions on 7 targets for 62 yards. That did lead the team versus San Francisco. Almost a 22% target share with Jackson Dart, and Malik Neighbors is out. Wan'Dale Robinson is doing that inside stuff with Theo Johnson. The deep play threat is Darius Slayton. So he led all Giants in targets last week, and that was his first game back from injury. He got 7 targets this week. At Chicago, week 10, the 11th most fantasy points for wide receiver, man. So Darius Slayton is a flex option, especially in full PPR, even next week. This guy blew up, man. I started Daniel Jones. I don't even know. I need to go check because he had 3 turnovers. 4 turnovers, man, like 8 points taken away from him. 11.8% rostered Alec Pierce is. 6 receptions on 13 targets. That did lead the team. So, man, he had 12 targets until the very end. Then he got that 13th and beat out Michael Pittman for 115 yards, and both at 115 yards. Almost a 28%, and 27% target share with Daniel Jones in this offense. 67 plus receiving yards in 5 of the last 7 games. Right now, dude, even in standard leagues, his floor is 6 points. His floor in PPR is like 9 points. So he's been very flex worthy for 3 weeks in a row, man. So we need to pick him up. He's a 2nd round draft pick in 2022 with Shane Steichen. So the draft capital is there. Versus Atlanta, week 10, they're giving it the 5th fewest fantasy points to running backs. This is actually a terrible matchup for him. But he is still worth picking up. Demario Douglas, man. He just went against the Falcons, but it was Booty and Matt Collins with the bad matchup there. Douglas had the better matchup. 5.2% rostered, 7% of my fab I spent on him. 4 receptions on 6 targets. That led the team. But again, the other wide receivers had a bad matchup. He had 100 yards and a touchdown, man, this week versus Atlanta. Almost a 22% target share. That's amazing. But the thing is, he's had 3 or fewer targets in 4 of his last 6. So this is a very outlier of a game. I think it was a matchup-dependent thing. 2 touchdowns over the last 4, so I do like his touchdown opportunities. 19 plus fantasy points in 2 of the last 4 games as well, dude. But his like floor is like 3 points. So this is a flex boomer bust type of player. I would pick him up, but don't spend too much money on him. And then right now, I am a Brian Thomas Jr. owner, man. I'm looking at the stats from the Jacksonville game. De'Ami Brown is coming out hot right now, and this is who Vegas thought was going to be the biggest benefactor from the Travis Hunter injury. So 2% rostered, 5% I spent on him. Travis Hunter on AR with ACL, maybe season injury, maybe season ending. They're versus Houston, week 10, and they are very stingy versus wide receivers. But hey, man, De'Ami Brown, let's see how this game goes. He might be the most targeted wide receiver on the Jacksonville Jaguars the rest of the season. All right, man. Tight ends. I drafted this guy over Tyler Warren because I thought I was a genius. All right. 23.3% rostered, 15% I spent on him. We're talking about Colson Loveland. 6 receptions on 7 targets for 118 yards. That led the team, man. And 2 touchdowns versus Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati's becoming one of the best matchups in the league because they will throw or they will score 1 million points and they'll allow 1 million points. So every game is a shootout. It's kind of like Dallas right now. So this was a outlier of a matchup, but Colston Loveland took advantage of it. Plus, he had a 21% target share, man. He has not been getting targets. I know Romo Dunze did not do anything. I'll have to go back and look at that. 38 or fewer receiving yards and 0 touchdowns in every game this season until this shit. All right, so huge outlier of a game. He was the 10th overall pick. He's going against the Giants week 10, and Giants are an average matchup against tight ends. So would I start him next week if I was super desperate and there's buys? Yes. But if anything, I'm picking him up. And if he goes off one more time, man, this could be that rookie stretch. You know, Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's some other ones I'm thinking about too. Zay Flowers. Some of these rookies just get super hot in the second half of the season. He is worth picking up to see if that happens. Theo Johnson, another tight end, man, 33% owned. 7% of my fab I spent on him. 3 receptions on 6 targets. That's actually a lot of targets. He's usually not that highly targeted. But he did get a touchdown, and that is becoming kind of normal for him. 18.8% target share. So, hey, that's not bad. For my tight end, I'd like 21 plus. 5 touchdowns over the last 6 games. 10 plus fantasy points in 4 of those 6. So, hey, man, he is not a bad tight end. He does not get the targets or the yards, but the touchdowns are there. He was 5th in red zone targets with 9 heading into this week. He's probably going to be top 4, top 3 now. And now with Tucker Kraft going down, man, just this is another tight end that you could pick up and maybe get a touchdown. 4th round draft pick in 2024, so this is the 2nd year. At Chicago, man, and they are actually pretty good. A pretty good matchup for tight ends, giving up the 12th most. So pick up Theo Johnson if you need to and bet on a 50% odds to get a touchdown. But he's had 5 in the last 6, so that's better than 50%, man. All right, Dalton Schultz, dude. Vegas was crazy about him last week and not this week. 20.7% rostered, man. He had 8 targets. That was the 2nd most for 77 yards. That led the team versus Denver. Now, CJ Stroud went out early, and this was mostly Davis Mills, but with concussions, they might be out another week. All right. Usually concussion is not just a week thing. It's usually they have 1 week off, is what I'm trying to say. So 20.5% target share for a tight end. That's amazing. 11 plus fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. So his floor is getting high. Stroud left early again. Versus Jacksonville week 10, that is an average matchup. But Dalton Schultz, man, if you're struggling for a tight end, Davis Mills will probably be starting next week. You can start him and bank on more targets. And hey, man, right now, this game was going. Tyler Higbee already caught a touchdown. He had 4 targets in early week 10. He's got 2 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. Matthew Stafford is playing extremely well. Puka Devontae Adams is leading the league in red zone targets by like 5. But Higbee does get touchdowns, man. So, again, this is a low-end flex option or, an emergency tight end at San Francisco week 10, the 10th fewest fantasy points of tight ends, but Fred Warner is gone. So that should be going. They should be getting, so tight ends should be doing better against San Francisco from now on. Next up, man, and again, I'm going to throw this one out here real fast. Noah Fant, if you're in an emergency, super deep league, I picked him up in one of my deep leagues. 5% rostered, man. 2 receptions on 3 targets, but did have a touchdown. And I just want a piece of that Joe Flacco right now. Only a 7% target share, but he does have 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks on a bye, so you can pick him up for nothing. All right, man, on to the quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, man, this guy needs to be rostered in 100% leagues. He did this once before with the Browns, like 2 years ago, was top 3 quarterback in the last month and a half of the season. Won people championships. Now he's doing it again, man. 33% rostered, so 2 out of every 3 leagues, he should be available. 47 times he threw that damn ball for 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he threw an interception on the last throw, but 2 interceptions versus Chicago. He was quarterback 7, averaging 23 fantasy points per game heading into this week, and now he just scored like 35 points, man. He is on a bye week 10, but do what you have to do to secure Joe Flacco and start him moving forward. Hey, man, if I forgot a player, please comment down below. It'll help everybody, man, and I appreciate that. Hopefully I earned a thumbs up. Hopefully I earned a subscription, man. That's exactly what this show needs. If you give us a like, it sends us out to more computers. At least it's supposed to. Doesn't seem like it happens much, man. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tyler Big Turd Ward. This is the Fantasy Red Zone, and we appreciate you.